All right, what's up? Will here from Flow Candy. Today we are breaking down Pop Mart, specifically a brand called Labubu. This brand has totally blown up. It's like these little plush pendants here, the monsters. This is rumored to be driving over $400 million a year in 2024 for Pop Mart, and it's only growing. So I'm going to break down their email marketing, what they're doing, and a little bit more about the business. I would say one thing they do really well is scarcity. Um, Scarcity and upselling and stuff like that. I'm going to break it down, and they do it in email really well. But you can see right here, they're launching. It's like a mystery box too. Sometimes you don't know which one you're going to get. It could be a secret. Also, these are similar to like if you grew up a millennial like me, if you remember Beanie Babies, where there's so much scarcity with some of these. Where I mean, there was one of them that was rumored to sell for over $130,000. I mean, it was more of a life size version of it, but still, um, there's a whole secondary market to this stuff, or to these Labubus, and it's really driving. I mean, that I'm not even including the $400 million in that. I'm just talking about the revenue they're driving through their business, and it's all over the place. It's not just retail. Excuse me. It's not just online. They have retail stores. They even have like little kiosks that you can buy them at. So let's jump into it. So one thing that pops off is just the amount of traffic these guys are driving, and it's only growing. Let's see if I can pull it up. You can see, just in April, it was, around 8 million, and now already in July, we're at 20 million. So they're growing really. They're getting a lot of traffic. And it's increasing too. I mean, they've more than doubled their traffic in 2 months, which is wild. And these are like huge numbers already. Most brands I break down are not over. A lot of them are well-known brands that aren't even over 1 million. You might have some of the Kardashian brands that are up to 5-10 million. So this brand being at 20 million is impressive. So a lot of traffic that they're driving. They get a lot of traction on TikTok. Also, a lot of celebrities are using it. So you'll see like Rihanna has been recently. And what people are doing is they'll put them on like like their purses and stuff, or their designer bags. So you'll see Rihanna has one. You'll see the Kardashian has one. Even David Beckham, there was one where his daughter gave him a gift. It really got popular. I had never heard of this girl, but Lisa from Blackpink. She's like a K-pop star from Thailand, and I mean, this literally just happened in April 2024. So not barely even a year ago, she was first sort of photographed with this, and this is what really allowed the brand to take off in the past year or so. So that's a little bit about the backdrop, a little bit about the traffic. Let's talk about some other stuff. So first off, one thing that's really interesting is they use a CRM that I have never heard of before. Quick CEP. No, that's not it. Quick CEO, Quick CEP. So to me, when I look at this is like almost like a chat bot. It kind of reminds me of Mini Chat, if you guys remember that. I'm not sure if that's still around. It's been a while since I've used that CRM, but it looks more like a small business startup type CRM. I don't even know if you want to call it a CRM, but for smaller stores that do a lot of stuff with chat, and want to leverage AI. So it's wild to see a brand that's doing hundreds of millions of dollars using this. But But yeah, you can see they have a lot of interesting stores using this. It's not a CRM that I see normally. Normally, you would see Klaviyo. You might see, if they're a little bit more legacy, like a SAP, Oracle, or a Salesforce. You would even see like Attentive or PostScript or Sinlane or Yotpo. I've never seen this one. So really interesting. That was sort of a learning I had, but it does a lot of things. It'll do, um, it'll manage multiple channels. So you can manage your email, your WhatsApp, Amazon, SMS. Maybe that's why they need it. I could see, because it's such a strong business in Asia, there's probably a lot of business going through WhatsApp or through TikTok. I know Line, I think it's called, is really big in Japan and Thailand and places like this. So maybe that's why it's needed. But it looks like it can do a lot. It looks like you can build flows, you can build automations, tracking, and stuff like that. It's multilingual. It's probably not as robust at segmentation, or robust as with integrations as, say, if you were to use something like a Klaviyo or a Salesforce or something like that. I'm just speculating on that, but it's interesting that they're able to do this and use a tool like this at such scale, because it does look like more of like a tool for a smaller Shopify store. Regardless, let's get into their emails. So I have some stuff pulled up from like all the way back to 2022, and I think that's really when they were the best at email marketing, in my opinion. I mean, just look at their emails in July 2022. I mean, this isn't purely Labubu. It's there's stuff around basically their other collections. Like Molly is a big driver of sales for them. I think about 17% of their sales come from this collection. But you'll see, though, a couple things they do really well here. So first off, they're already using like scarcity here. There's only 100 pieces. And then what they do is they sort of already are upselling. They're like, hey, if you order over $99, so they're trying to increase the average order value, increase that transaction size, you get this. If you order over $69, you get this. So it's like, this is like almost like a downsell. It's like an upsell and a downsell and adding scarcity at the same time. Really interesting that they do that. They're also showing like new releases. So these are things that they've launched, and they're teasing stuff that's coming soon. So if you're a brand that does drops, this is like what Stanley has sort of shifted to, or they do limited releases or joint ventures with other brands, other celebrities. You'll see a lot of brands do this now. These guys do it better than anybody I've ever seen. Teasing the launches, upselling, and adding in scarcity. You'll see it even here too. Here's a Molly one that they're doing, another collection, and it's like, we're only making 120 pieces of this, and it's at $200. We're only making 80 of this, and it's at $900. So they're showing the launch time. They're even giving you tips on how to get it. It's wild. Really, really interesting way they tease it out. And they do this with they do this across all their collections. Again, this is like the same offer as basically this, it's the same blocking and tackling of it's around for a certain date. You order this and you get that. We're only making this pieces, but they just switch it for the SKU that they're launching. So if you're a brand that's doing this stuff and is launching new SKUs after new SKUs, Like they're literally just doing this once a month. You get over $89, you get this. Order over $159, you get that. This one, they're testing different price points here. I don't know if that's due to cost of goods sold or it's due to just like, hey, we're trying to get the average order value up. And it's the same type of template here, coming soon. They're teasing other things, other collections coming soon. Really, really interesting. Again, here's one with like Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse. I'm not sure if this is a joint venture with Disney. I would imagine so, given that they're using Mickey and Minnie. They do challenges too. It's kind of cool. They'll do a lot of this stuff. They did one on Christmas that I liked too. So here's one. I mean, they just a challenge during Christmas, and it's remarkable because they're not sending a lot of emails. They're only sending like 4 a month. A lot of them are project launch emails. They will do some of these, like this is like a brand anniversary email they did, which I thought was really cool. Again, it's the upselling in the emails I've never seen anybody do a better job. Upselling in the emails and then showing scarcity by saying we only have X amount of pieces. I would imagine this really, really works. And then there's these events that they do. Here's one. It's like a more meet a new character, but then there's an offer. And again, it's similar. You'll get this, you'll get a bonuses. So they're providing bonuses and they're upselling you. Like if you order a little bit more of a cart size, you get a bigger bonus. What's interesting though is if you move back into 2023, so they do a lot of this stuff throughout 2023. I'm not sure what happened in December 2023 because they stopped doing all of this. And what looked like a very custom, thorough email design system for mostly 2023 and 2024, they have shifted to a very simple design system, not leaning into scarcity as much and just sort of basically it's very drag and drop. They'll literally just drag a new logo in, they'll drag a collection in, and you put the name. I mean, literally, these could be dynamic collections. They're probably just duplicating it. And then they use these footers like new releases, mega collection. The footers, they'll change like blind box. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot more they could be doing later on. And sometimes I wonder like, why does that happen? My guess is a couple different things, like why you'll see some of these brands do so well and then they will change their email style. Most of the time at the bigger brands, it just comes down to staff turnover. I've noticed like new personnel has come into the business, or people have left, like maybe they had someone managing their CRM, and they switched. I don't know if back in 2023 they were on quick CP. Maybe now they're on quick CP and they can't deploy as advanced emails. Maybe because they're on quick CP, things are different and they can't segment as well. A lot of different things could suggest this, but my experience normally is that new personnel comes into the business. Whether somebody left, it's the person that was managing the CRM and building these out, left the company. Whether they left the company, they were using an agency and they moved on from that agency. You'll see that happen sometimes, and they'll move it in-house. And this is typical. Sometimes brands will move it in-house. They'll move it in-house too soon, and they don't realize that they've sort of lost their way a little bit with email marketing. Like they don't have, they underestimate how much time and the team that is needed to build out like an email, like all these emails. I mean, these are pretty advanced emails, I would say. They're not totally drag and drop. You got a gradient here. There's multiple boxes. So a designer, maybe an agency is probably doing this. And, sometimes when you get in these bigger global companies like Pop Mart, where you have retail stores all over the world, you have demographics all over the world. It just becomes hard. Sometimes email is not the main priority, but my hunch is if you were to go back and look at what they were doing in 2022, they were probably driving more revenue. Because what's happening now is just very, very, could be elevated a lot. Honestly, I think they're launching even more collections. The business has, grown so much. I'm surprised they haven't doubled down on this. But you can go back and look. It looks like a very simple design system all throughout the last year, where they're literally just, um, again, they're not even leaning into the scarcity, the mystery, the bonuses that really you see on the site. If you go to the site, you'll see they'll do this, but and in store and online, TikTok, you'll hear about it, but they're not really capturing that in email anymore. So anyway, that's a little bit about how they're using email marketing. This is a brand that, again, like I said, is scaled, doing hundreds of millions of dollars all over the world. Retail, they're omni-channel, retail, D2C, and have like kiosks that you can buy these products from. They're doing joint ventures too. Like here's one with Toy Story. So it's a pretty scaled up brand. They also have a lot to improve on, in my opinion. And it looks like they had something kind of figured out earlier, but not so much lately. Anyway, so if I were to benchmark them, I'm not going to benchmark them now, but if I were to benchmark them, they would score pretty low in 2024. In 2025, in 2022, they would have scored higher. But anyway, I hope this breakdown helps you if you're in the toy business, or you're in a similar adjacent field. You can see how a brand that's really scaled up, that's getting really popular, how they're doing their email marketing. But thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for the next one, and I'll see you guys on our next